Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Smitty and today I have for you another Mage Tower guide. This one starring the Vengeance Demon Hunter, aka the Knockback Pinata. So first of all, I am not a very good tank player and I just started playing Vengeance Demon Hunter in Shadowlands. So my knowledge of the class and spec is pretty limited, so if I can do it, you can too. I'll talk about what gear I wore. So I didn't really do anything crazy. I just wore the gear I was normally wearing from Shadowlands, just mostly haste versus what I tried to prioritize. I also wore my Heart of Azeroth to get 3 stats, although that might not have been the play because I feel like verse is probably just better than crit haste mastery. So here's the Transmog you will receive for completing the challenge. It looks really good. Really plays into that Legion-esque fell look. Looks really good in my opinion. So we're going to pop over here and talk about the consumables, talents, enchants, things of that nature. So this is a Wowhead guide. I use this as a baseline, and I'll tell you things that I use that were a little bit different, but I'll put a link to this in the description box below. So I did use Spectral Flask of Power. However, for potion, I used Potion of Unbridled Fury. I thought that was much better than Phantom Fire. Healing Potion's good. I didn't run a healing potion. There are healing orbs during the encounter, but yeah, it's an additional safety net. You can also have a Warlock make you some lock rocks or something like that before you go in. Drums are, I wouldn't say you need them, but the fight's really tough in Phase 2, so definitely a good pickup. I would say 9% of people will need these, including myself. Shadowcore Oil, this is great. I added these, Heavy Desolate Armor Kit, and whatever food you prefer. I used haste food, personally. Lightless Force, I threw this on my offhand. It was actually nice. A little extra damage. Hit 5 enemies, which is really nice because the adds come in sets of 4s typically. Pretty basic stuff. Nothing crazy here. I didn't use any kind of weird special trinket. I will say if you have a blood spattered scale, that is probably super nice for dealing with the final phase. Next up, talents. So Abyssal Strike, this actually was an incredible talent for me. I got knocked around quite a bit, so I did a lot of gliding and hopping. Pretty much Infernal Strike has the reduced cooldown. I think it's down to 12 seconds with this, and it drops a Sigil of Flame, so some additional damage. Fallout, whenever Immolation Aura is popped, you have a chance to spawn some Lesser Soul Fragments. This is really nice. Synergy with Spirit Bomb, especially when dealing with the adds. Extra healing, etc. Fracture, just baseline. Quicken Sigils, I think you could run Sigil of Chains here too, but Quicken Sigils I really liked. So it just makes them activate 1 second faster, which feels pretty good. That means you don't have to play as perfect when you're dealing with the adds. However, I think you could run Sigil of Chains and add this to the rotation instead of balancing between the Silent Sigil and the Disorient Sigil. Demonic, this is critical talent here in my opinion. It gives you an additional DR and it does really well for dealing with adds whenever it's up. And Last Resort is just super nice for having that cheat death. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into this kill clip. So I think this took me about 30 to 40 pulls. Never attempted Mage Tower on tank before, and not a very good Vengeance Demon Hunter, as I stated previously. So I go ahead and send meta off the rip. I go bounce between 5 to 7 stacks on that pull. Also right here, I want to notice, see how I got close to the pool but didn't take another stack? Whenever you're interrupting, it's really important not to take another stack because it refreshes the duration of the debuff. As you can see in the upper right of my HUD, I'm tracking that debuff. Also, I found that you got to be really careful when you Infernal Strike. If you jump over that boss's debuff area, it will apply another debuff stack, which I found to be really bad. The Smoldering Infernal is just over there doing his own thing. I should actually taunt that. I finally do. So if you're not doing anything to these mobs, they'll try to go kill your party. If your party members die, it's over for you. So the first and most important thing to deal with in Phase 1 is interrupting Drain Life. The longer Phase 1 goes, the more Infernals you get, the more difficult Phase 2 is. Pretty much the fewer Infernals you have, the easier it will be. So if you can do more damage to me, and I'm sure you'll be able to, you'll be cruising. So whenever I have Fell Devastation up, I always knew for the ads I could always Fell Dev into a Spirit Bomb and kill them. That was my damage profile. Your mileage might vary.
Hard time with Demon Hunter.
I was talking in chat there because as you could tell, I was, somebody was trying to tell me to do it as Bear, and I was struggling on Vengeance. So the big advantage with Vengeance Demon Hunter is just that you're able, whenever you get knocked back, you're actually able to either Infernal Strike back or just use Glide, which is really critical. So those ads, there's pretty much a rotation you want to use. So the first thing is you want to go ahead and use your Sigil of Silence and then alternate with the Sigil that disorients the group. So Blizzard did change it to where once they start their cast, once it's silenced or disoriented, they won't try to cast it again. So they're pretty much free mobs after that, because you won't ever have to worry about them doing much to you anymore after that. So I'll go ahead and silence. As you can see there, I actually got silence down onto the boss too. That wasn't as critical because it wasn't during Drain Life, but it does prevent the damage going into you. So pretty much how you want to work this is the way I did it, at least. Drain Life, number 1. Number 2, you want to make sure you handle the ads properly. Number 3, deal with eyes. And number 4 is pay attention to your debuff stack. If you can do those things, you'll be cruising. Actually, they got a little bit of a tick off. You see how much damage it does. I would say don't be afraid to grab orbs. However, the best you can manage the orbs, you'll have them for later in the fight, which actually is critical. Really, ideally, if you do it really well, you can go into the final phase with 4 orbs. I don't do it here because I definitely was not playing optimally. The final phase will begin when Inquisitor Vary gets down to 0% HP. Also, another thing, when you do take the orbs, it disorients the entire platform. So you can pretty much use that as an interrupt if things are not going your way. Another thing I want to mention is those eyes despawn once you phase the boss. So I'd say the best time to phase the boss is like right after an ad phase and right after the Infernals are down to a lower HP. You can't always do this. Like after you kill them, they'll just pretty much reincarnate after a certain amount of time. So you see Cruel coming down, my ads are almost down. I'm just chilling. So you got these little lines. You can double jump over them, or I think you can also just single jump if you want to. They won't do a ton of damage. So Annihilate is the thing you want to worry most about. The first one I was just using a Demon Spikes against, and you have to interrupt Twisted Reflection. So that's pretty much what you want to worry about here is Twisted Reflection and dealing with Annihilate. So Annihilate gets progressively worse as the encounter goes. Also, I want to mention that whenever this phase starts, I go ahead and send my... You see, Annihilate's pretty rough. I go ahead and send my Unbridled Fury Potion and my Lust or my Drums. That you want to pretty much, this is like burn Cruel as hard as you can while dealing with the rest of the mechanics. So that was a really big disorient sigil, and I went ahead and meta. Do you want to go ahead and meta later in the fight? So Krul's pretty low. We're chilling. We don't have meta though, so we just saw, as you saw, I got lucky and I saw an orb spawn. Go ahead and use it. And I got a fell dev to potentially deal with the next annihilate if it comes. I don't. Yep. So annihilate's up, but I fell dev'd. So now we're just chilling, collecting the skin. So this one felt pretty good. Was pretty damn hard. I'd be interested. Are you struggling on this encounter? If you are, drop it in the comment section below. I'll do my best to help you. And also, are you interested in any other Mage Tower guides? If so, go ahead and drop that in the comment section below as well. And also, like and subscribe to this video if you found it useful and informative, or if it helped you in any way. And lastly, a link to my Twitch will be in the description box below. So I really appreciate you watching, and thanks again, and I'll see you next time. See ya.